The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Variety Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericavariety.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Your new or existing home is one of your most important assets, yet too many people rely on sites, shows, and tips from people who are not in the real estate business when making important decisions. It's time to get real and trust a professional. This is Real Estate Today with host Deb Tomaro. In this series, you'll learn about making smart decisions when it comes to buying a home, selling a home, or even staying in the home you're in. Now, here is your host, Realtor Deb Tomaro.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on another fascinating episode of Real Estate Today. I am your host, Deb Tomaro, on a dreary, rainy day, but it's 60 degrees. Crazy on February, whatever it is. So we're kind of torn between it's spring and it's not spring. So I am coming at you from our studios in Bloomington, Indiana. And usually Karen Rastel, best damn lender in the state of Indiana, is with me. She is not here today. She is training, as we announced last week, I think, that she switched mortgage companies. And she is with Ruoff Home Mortgage now. And so she's got to be up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, lovely, lovely town up there, for the week doing training. So hopefully she's listening. Probably not. But so we'll talk about her since she's not listening. So I do have a guest that we're going to introduce here in a second, and I think this is going to be a really great show. I'm really excited about it. I did want to catch up a little bit on the 10-10-10 project that we've been doing, celebrating 10 years in real estate, and we're donating 10% of commissions to 10 local nonprofits. We've been talking about one of those 10 is not actually a nonprofit. It is a movement, I guess we call it. And we're just trying to do nice things for people on a random basis whenever we can. So Karen and I spent Super Bowl Sunday trying to put together an adult tricycle that came in a box. Rachel's laughing at us. There was wine involved and tools that none of us knew how to use. And Karen did a bang-up job, and we got about halfway through. And then we finally concluded that they sent us lock nuts that were the incorrect size, and we couldn't get the back wheels on. Oh, it's a whole thing. There was a lot of frustration involved and not enough wine. And, of course, Eurus was trying to help us. He's in Pennsylvania right now. So I kept sending him pictures of things, and I'd get on the phone. And then I believe I stood in the living room with a hammer in my hand for quite some time. Like, do you need this? Do you want this? Because Karen was kind of taking charge. I'm glad we didn't. But anyways, so hopefully that'll get done, and we'll be able to make the presentation. It's a surprise, and we'd like to try and figure out how to present it anonymously, but it's to I'm sure his mother does not listen to the show, but it's to a 12-year-old autistic boy who needs a way to burn some energy and needed an adult tricycle, and so we got one for him. They shipped us the wrong color. It's been just a folly. They shipped us the wrong color. I was pretty upset, but then they gave us a pretty good discount. So I said, red's probably all right. And then they sent us the wrong lock nuts. And yeah, anyways. So that's going well. We'll maybe post a picture when we get it done. Last week on our show, we talked about what to do if you get turned down for a mortgage. And we talked about how different lenders can have different rules for even the same loan program. So it doesn't hurt to check a couple of lenders if the first one says no to you. And we also talked about getting on a plan that if you're not able to qualify for a mortgage today, well, you're not going to be any closer tomorrow if you don't do anything tomorrow to help you get closer to that. Does that make sense? I feel like I just talked in a big circle. So you might even be further away unless you just get yourself on a plan and stick with it. So I wanted to, last week my message was that there's hope for just about anybody, but you have to start doing things differently to get you on that path toward your goal. And it can be overwhelming, but it can also be doable. It's not hopeless, and you're not helpless. There's plenty of people who can help. So we're going to kind of continue in that thread today, but a little bit differently, right?
Right.
Joining me is Cheryl Smith, who has a business here in Bloomington called Consider It Done Lifestyle Management. And she is, among other things, helping us declutter our lives, right?
That's right. Helping everybody declutter.
It's not, and I think for me, like when I walk into, I have a room that is sort of my closet. It's sort of overflowed, and it certainly feels overwhelming and hopeless.
Yes.
Much like being turned down for a mortgage. I go into a lot of homes, and I see some that are so well organized, we don't even look at the house because we're like, look at this closet. I was just telling you before the show, I went into a house 2 weeks ago, and I actually took a picture of these people's closets. I know they think but I'm just like, I'm so inspired. I didn't do anything differently. I didn't get myself any closer to that goal because I don't know where to start. But I do think that, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I can probably sell any house if it's neat as a pin and spotlessly clean.
Right.
And when people ask how much money they need to get their house ready to sell, it's not really an issue of money. It's an issue of decluttering and organization.
Yep, agreed.
So let's talk a little bit about just how you kind of got started.
Sure.
In the business.
Sure.
And
absolutely.
Yeah,
well, first of all, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Really do appreciate it. I love what I do and what you just said about walking in and feeling like you're never going to get a start is probably 90% of the people I run into. And so I just want to say to everybody out there, you just have to start, even if it's with that first little drawer in your kitchen, just start somewhere. And I always encourage people to take that picture, like you said.
Oh, have the before and after?
Yeah, because it's really nice to go, wow. Matter of fact, today I did get an email from a lady who sent me how her closet, she redid her whole closet.
Oh, wow.
And it was so fun to see. So I love to celebrate success with everybody.
And I know you post them on your Facebook page.
Yes,
so look her up on Facebook because there was a before and after just yesterday. I think you posted.
Yes, and we're going to do another one
Christmas
this week.
decorations.
Absolutely. I know. She left her Christmas out till I could get over there.
Oh my gosh.
Get it, but
ours is still out.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a good time to purge, by the way. If you still have it out,
that's
get
true.
rid of those things
Before
that your grandma left you, like that hand towel or something that needs
oh my God,
to go.
I have one of those.
That's right. Get rid of it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I've been so lucky in my life to have a lot of different types of jobs. I started out my career, lived in Anderson and was a teacher and a principal for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So I think customer service and just helping people keep organized, I started that way. Whether it's a second grader who needs to organize the desk or writing lesson plans and making sure that the flow makes sense for people. I think I was trained early on that having steps can be helpful.
Your brain works like that.
Absolutely. And when you work with all sorts of kids, from gifted and talented to special needs to just all sorts of different backgrounds, sometimes you have to adjust each one differently. And that's how I approach all my clients is, we all have different goals and visions, and I look at those. So I was blessed to get called back to Bloomington and was a principal here for a few years, and then spent some time in sales and just some other fun jobs at IU. And it was great because I have two girls at IU. So when they were younger, gave me the chance to put on my mom hat for a while. And then what really turned things for me is, believe it or not, worked in a funeral home for 2 years. And I helped people prearrange their funerals. But the big piece was the aftercare. So after somebody had a loss, and I know this might be a little close to your heart too, is that they didn't know what to do. You're kind of in a fog and a daze, and it's such a huge loss, even if you have a family member who's struggled with health for a while. So they would say, I don't know what to do with the house. I'm not sure where they kept the life insurance policies. I can't, it's just this endless barrage of questions. And I was, I'd help as best I could. And finally, one day I was like, well, this is crazy. Why not help these people? So that's where it started. So a couple of years ago, I started working on a plan and have tinkered with it the past year, and have just found that a lot of people are wanting some help with organization, decluttering, move management, helping with older family members. So it's really blossomed into a great skill set for myself and what I can serve the community with.
Well, and I definitely want to touch on that more in the last segment with the senior move and that sort of thing, because I think that I run into so many clients, and like I said, I'm kind of going through that personally right now, and so many questions and trying to. I'm discovering there are resources out there.
Yes,
but I didn't know. I had to ask. Hey, what resources are out there, and what should I be doing, kind of thing. So we're going to talk about that more in the final segment. So what services do you offer? Kind of what's your list? Your menu
absolutely.
There?
Well, I think one of the things to remember when you think about lifestyle management is also my main focus is probably on transition. So if you can remember a transition, so transitions to new homes, transition to assisted living, transition to different cities, if you've gone through a separation or a loss of a family member. So thinking of a simple list is I do declutter and organization a lot, and those really do go hand in hand. You can't really organize until you declutter.
Right.
So
you're not going to organize people's junk for them?
No, but I have a lot of people ask. So that's your junk. I'll help you go through it. Yeah. So it's nice to just get rid of things, and we can talk a little bit, about just that process of going through it, because there's some strategies I use with families. Awesome. Something you probably work with a lot is downsizing and upsizing, whether that's just across town or, like I said, to another living situation. So a lot of times people don't know. The questions are, what furniture do I take? I don't know if it's going to fit. Right. And then the other side, people who are buying larger places need some help too with let's get it organized right the first time, so I don't have to go back and do it. And then the senior move management, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Yeah. I also help with those resources that you were talking about, community resources. So I call that charitable contribution and disbursement. So, just yesterday I dropped off a load of wonderful blankets to Martha's house. Oh, nice. Yeah. So I know it's going to get colder.
It's a shelter.
Sorry, here in Bloomington. And so they were just so grateful. And then the client was even more thrilled, because that's what her mom wanted her things to be given back. Yeah. So I keep a resource book to help people find those resources, that are close to their heart, because it means a lot to them. Cool. And then the estate disbursement. So, right now working with some people, as you know, when they've lost a family member and the house needs to be emptied and ready for sale. So again, it's a process where I manage the entire disbursement and work with the families, whether they live in town or out of town.
I know my grandmother when she was in California, many thousands of miles away, and she's like, you have to come and put stickers on the things that you want. I was like, oh, I'm good, Grandma.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big piece of downsizing.
Trying to figure that stuff out. Yeah. Awesome. So have you always been super organized? I mean, I guess we kind of talked about as a kid, were you organized?
My mom might say differently. Yeah. I always knew where things were, and I find that I don't have a lot of attachments to things, and I know that differs with everybody. So when I see something's run its course, I'm pretty good about giving it away. So I guess super organized, but I'm not you won't come in my house and see the Pinterest pictures. I always tell people to be wary of Pinterest, because those are not reality. You were lucky to see a closet like that. But people get discouraged when they look. I love Pinterest, don't get me wrong. But to look on there and think your closet has to have the matching baskets with the matching felt hangers, all hanging with the space. That doesn't have to be organization.
Yeah, I always tell people every once in a while, about once a year, you walk into a house, I'm like, oh man, Pinterest threw up in here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like crazy. But I do remember one house I showed last year, and it was obviously a Pinterest thing. They had seen where you take all of your sheets and your sheet sets, and then you fold them up, and then you tuck them inside one of the pillowcases, and they were all lined up, and I was like, whoa, Pinterest got in here, man.
Absolutely.
But, and then everybody is like, you go look at your linen. Yeah. It's amazing how much people, home buyers judge people on their linen closet. I know sellers don't want to hear that. They're like, oh, no one will look at that. Oh my God. Yeah, they do look at that though. Absolutely. And they're like, I showed a house last week. They said, this is the neatest linen closet I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm sure sellers don't to think that they're saying that.
I think it probably says a lot about, there's a lot of research on when your home is cluttered, how that trickles down into the rest of your world. Oh my gosh. So I would think when you're looking at a new house and you see that closet is organized, my first guess would be they've taken good care of this house.
Exactly.
So it really says a lot about how you even operate during the day. Because when your house is cluttered, your mind is cluttered, your kitchen's cluttered, you don't eat as well. I mean, there's a lot of neat research about how it really has an effect in your whole world, in your kids, and your family.
You're absolutely right. And I think I may just cut this show short today and go home and throw out everything in my closet, because I'm feeling some sparks of inspiration. I don't know. Yes. Let's talk a little bit about that emotional connection, because you mentioned that before, that you don't get emotionally connected with things. And I was giving the story of, I know Rachel's laughing at me, how I'm not a hoarder, but I do have a ton of clothes. Ridiculous. It's out of control, and it's a problem for sure. Absolutely. I need help. But I used to have a lot of books too. I grew up around a lot of books. And I finally one day kind of got to this point where I was like, oh, wait, these books are not serving the purpose in the world. They need to go out and spread their word. Yes. And so, I donated them or whatever. And it felt good, and it's been, probably 10 years, and I still have a good life. Like, my life hasn't changed negatively because I don't have those books anymore. And so I had to find a way to kind of emotionally detach.
Yeah.
But there are some things that I struggle with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all do, and everybody's got their own book thing or clothes thing or pictures or salt and pepper shakers.
Clown collections.
I've collections, doll collections.
Creepy,
so, yeah. I mean, everybody, when you pick up an item, you're connecting it with a memory of some sort. When you read a book, you probably think, oh, that was my first book, or I remember when I took that class at school. But you just really kind of have to go back and think about, is enough. Maybe out of your 200 books, there might be 10 that really speak to you, and you probably have them on a shelf and you may have kept them. But if you can give your things for somebody else to love, that's really what it's all about, is to let somebody else take care of that. Now, some things take longer to let go of than others. So I was talking before, sometimes you have to put it on that let me think about it just for a little bit shelf, and then revisit it and make decisions about that. But letting go is hard. And that's where I find the biggest challenge in my job is working with families when they're holding that, teacup that grandma gave them, and they're staring at it, endlessly. And they look at me and they're like, I really don't need this, do I? And I'm like, well, that's, do you need to use it again? Does somebody else need it? And they're like, no, not really. And then I can see them just gently, we wrap it up and we put it, we give it to somebody. And I think the other emotional piece that I feel it's harder for our greatest generation and the baby boomers is we think that everybody wants our stuff. And, that set of china, as beautiful as it is, and how many memories are associated with Christmas and Thanksgiving, it just doesn't work with the millennials and the other group. And it's really hard to help people look through. I know, I do too. I don't get me wrong.
No, because you know what my mom does? Every time she drives up here from Texas, she brings stuff and she goes, I don't care what you do with it. I can't throw it out. So I need for you to dispose of it. So she gives me permission. If you want it, that's fine. If you want to sell it on eBay, I don't really care. But that's how she just pawns it off on me.
Well, it's good that she leaves the door open.
And I don't have the emotional attachment to it. So I'm okay with doing that for most things. So it seems to work.
Yeah. Well, and you nailed it. The permission to do it, whether you give it to yourself or somebody else. And this is what will help downsizing for all of our families. If adults, our older, family members can say, I don't need this anymore. Do you want it? And to be able to leave it okay that they say, no, Grandma.
Yeah, because that's really hard
because
too.
You can kind of see it in their face. But those are the hard conversations, and that's when downsizing and these kind of emotional things get in the way, because it can hinder the movement, because you feel like it's got to go somewhere. But we just talk through it. The decision is always theirs. I don't get rid of things that people still have attachments to, because I don't want them to call me a month later and go, I really wanted that piece of china.
My life has changed for the worst because I gave it up.
Yeah, so I think the emotional piece is probably one of the biggest hurdles. And as we work through things, I'll notice the beginning is hard, and then you get a couple more days into it, and all of a sudden
stuff's thrown out left and right.
They can just process it so quickly, and it's okay. They feel okay about it. And before I leave, I'm always like, okay, this is going to Goodwill. How do we feel about everything in there? And they're like, take it away. And I run it out to the car.
I have sometimes like that too, where I'm like, take it now, because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I'll start bags of to put clothes, and then something variable will come back out of the bag after it's been in the bag, and that's not good at all. I know we were talking before the show about this author, I'm going to get her name, Marie Kondo. Is that right? Marie Kondo. And she's got a book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing. And I think it's kind of a trendy thing right now, but she always talks about, do the items bring you joy? So it's, what kind of, so we're not saying having an emotional attachment is a bad thing, but it needs to be something that purposely brings you joy. And, I'm like, if you're asking me if that sweater brings me joy, well, not like a chocolate bar does, I guess that's,
No, you're right. And it is true. Everything evokes an emotion and brings you some sort of feeling, but you don't want that emotion to hinder your progress. you got to let go of some
Right.
things so you can make room for new things.
Right.
I mean, just think of the
Ooh,
joy
I like
new
that
things
idea.
would bring. Reward yourself. I always tell people when something new comes in the closet, two need to go out.
I try that.
Yeah.
That doesn't
So
work, but-
I know, but it's some strategies that help.
Right,
That can be the
exactly.
hard part, for
Awesome.
sure.
All right, well, we're going to take our first break and come back and talk a little bit more about decluttering as it applies to selling your home. So more really good stuff to come. Stick around. We'll be right back. This is Real Estate Today, your home for smart real estate.
Streaming live, the leader in Internet talk radio, voiceamerica.com.
Are you interested in buying or selling a home? Not sure what the next step is? Deb can help. Go to realrealestatetoday.com and click on Start Here. You'll be asked a few simple questions, and Deb will personally contact you to help answer your real estate questions and connect you with a realtor in her personal nationwide network of realtors. So even if you aren't in Deb's service area, you're guaranteed to find a good match wherever you are. Visit realrealestatetoday.com.
In the spirit of Have Couch Will Travel, Dr. Carol Lieberman creates a haven of sanity in an increasingly insane world. Each day we are bombarded with news of events that have never crossed our wildest nightmares. Society is spiraling out of control and everyone is reeling from it. But now there's an answer. The best way to keep sane in this insane world is to tune in to Dr. Carol's Couch on Voice America. Dr. Carol, a certified media psychiatrist, will broadcast live from her Beverly Hills office every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Call or log in and get help with whatever is sending you reeling, whenever you need a soothing voice to calm and advise you. That's Dr. Carol's Couch every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on America's Voice, voiceamerica.com.
You are listening to Real Estate Today. To reach Deb Tomaro or with questions and comments about the show, please send an email to Deb at realrealestatetoday.com. That's Deb at realrealestatetoday.com. Now, back to this week's program.
All right, welcome back. We are talking today with Cheryl Smith of Consider It Done Lifestyle Management and getting all kinds of inspiration to put us on the path to having a decluttered, less cluttered home and a less cluttered mind.
That's right. That's right.
They're tightly tied together.
Yes, they
I think.
They
Yeah.
truly are. Mm-hmm.
I think that they always say if you're trying to eat healthier, having your kitchen set up is huge.
Yeah.
And so, it goes that the rest follows. So this segment, we're going to talk about, can you sell a messy home? I found this article. I don't know if I sent it to you, Rachel, to post or not. Did I send it to you? She's going to post it. I just thought it was funny when I was reading it because they were saying technically there's no reason you cannot sell a messy home, but common sense dictates you're much better off fixing things up and cleaning things up before you ever list it. And they said, just as a business can poorly market its products, you have the right to poorly market your property for sale. So I just thought it was funny the way that they were talking about that. They did mention that, if it's really cluttered, and we've seen homes that are really cluttered, there could be some liability issues too if someone, hurts themselves because they can't step over things for sure. And then I found another article that was just talking about your neighbor's house being cluttered and how that can impact 5 to 10% off of the price of your home.
Oh, wow.
That's your neighbor's house just from the outside. So imagine the price difference if you were trying to sell your home and it was cluttered.
Absolutely.
I've always said, now I know you just said you don't like storage units, and I'm down with that. But when people say, what do I need to do to sell my house to get the most out of it? Do I need to spend money on granite countertops, or do I need to redo the deck, or do I need to do that? I'm like, no, you just need a storage unit. You just need to get everything. Now, Cheryl's going to say you need a dumpster. And just get rid of it, or a
combination.
Yeah, or a truck that was going to, the thrift store or whatever. But that really makes such a huge difference. I had clients once that called me to list their home, and they'd already met with another realtor, and they were pretty stressed out when I went over there because this other realtor was like, well, okay, we need to get a stager in, and you got to get these silk curtains and these Turkish rugs. And she's like, I have 3 kids under the age of 5.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for those curtains when they get peanut butter and jelly on them? Because they're gonna.
Right.
And she was just like, I just don't know if we can live like that. Mm-hmm. And I walked in the house, and I was just like, we just need to move these toys.
Right.
We just need to move some things out of the way, find a different location for them. And so they did that. I said, and get your carpets clean. They did that. And we put the house on the market and had 2 offers the first day.
Yeah.
And they were like, thought I was a hero. And I was just like, okay. But it, that it was really just the stuff that was sort of keeping the difference. So I do, sometimes my first meeting with clients, the house is never show ready. I don't really expect that. I kind of like to see that. Oh, and I've seen some, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to do this or not. And sometimes you come back, and you're like, wow, Good job. Really did. And sometimes you go back, and you open the basement door, and you realize that they just threw everything down the stairs. Just down the stairs. Yeah. Like, all right, that's fine. So anyway, so that's my point in terms of it does make such a difference. And I think everybody kind of buys into that. Right. So if someone decides, okay, we got to sell the house for whatever reason, where do they start?
Yeah. I hope I don't get any hate mail from storage units. But my disclaimer is, as long as it's a temporary, like if you're just really prepping for a house and you just go in there and you just commit to just a couple months or till the house sells. Right. That's good. It's the people I talk to who are like, oh gosh, I've had a storage unit for, 10 years. And I'm just like, I'm thinking, you could.
Oh, I have a story to tell about that. But yeah, because one of the things I say to my clients, I have 3 rules when getting ready for your house, to put your house on the market or really to get it ready for pictures. One's every flat surface cleared off. One is no more than 2 to 3 large pieces of furniture per room. And then one is 36 to 48 inch walkways everywhere. But the furniture one can be tough. So that sometimes you got to put in a storage unit because you. Right. But I know someone who is storing some things actually in a warehouse that I own, and it's been there 4 years. Yeah. You know what? You probably don't need that stuff anymore. No. You've lived with it 4 years.
You said it. If you haven't thought about it, or if you haven't been to your storage unit in a while, it probably needs to be emptied out. But we'll put that on our spring to-do list. Yeah. But I think you said things right. First of all, when I help with staging, which I have occasionally, we don't have to go to the store but matter of fact, I tell people not to go buy anything organizational till we kind of assess the situation. And like you said, a lot of times it is just the toys. It's finding, the right place to put those. And we all live in our houses. So people coming through know that you have to live somewhere. Yeah. But we all know, too, that spaces need to be spaces. So when I go in the dining room, I don't want to, you need to get the computer off the table. Right. And so we try to find creative ways. Maybe you have some nooks or you have some other places that you can set these up, or we just take it down for a while. So it doesn't have to be about spending money. I think the first thing you need to do is just kind of go through. And maybe that does involve a little bit of decluttering, though. I mean, really purging things, because you don't want to pack those things anyway. So you sell your house, why not do a little bit ahead of time, so when the movers come or it's time to pack, you don't need to go through that drawer, and because you're excited about a new house, you're ready to get out of the old one, and you don't want to be bogged down with trying to declutter. So why not?
So then the crap goes in a box and it moves with you, doesn't it? Yes, how crazy. Absolutely. And you said before the show, and I was laughing, and it's like, because you go, that drawer you have with all the dead batteries. I'm like, I know that drawer with all the dead batteries. So you're going to pay someone to move those dead batteries to the new house for
absolutely.
you?
And I actually have watched some movers do that. I'm just like, did you just dump that whole drawer in there? And like, so part of what I do is help people get through that, and I can sit through a drawer. If they look at that drawer, I kind of know what's good and what's not. We can pull out some of those things.
Shoelaces?
Yeah,
I have some shoelaces in my drawer.
Actually may have, sometimes you can use those to put together things in the garage. Like I hang my Christmas wreaths. I take old shoelaces and ribbon and hang them from a nail so they're not, shoved in there. So sometimes things serve a second purpose. There you go. We upcycle some things. So I like to go in, and I do what you do too. I like to go in the first time and kind of see it uninterrupted. Yeah. You get a feel of what the family needs, how they live. Maybe they have a great, coffee table that we could just get some smaller baskets and put those toys in, and you just kind of put them away. Okay. They know you have kids. Right. I always got upset because I had this treadmill and some other things in my front room, and somebody told me, they're like, that just means you work out. I mean, why are you trying to hide this from everybody? It's just who you are and how you live. And I think you have to have a good balance between that. Right.
And that goes along with, I always tell my clients that, when you list a house online, it's like internet dating. So you want the pictures to be really good. And so, I actually went to a house last week that we're going to get ready to list, and it was a treadmill or something in the family room. I was like, if we could can we move it easily during pictures?
Yeah.
Just get it out of the way for pictures.
Right.
And if it's there during the showings, I really don't care because it's the pictures in today's day and age that everybody goes back to and who they send to their mom. And what do you think of this house? And that they, you know, and then they come into the house once, make sure, it's about like the pictures. And then they go back to the pictures again. So, you know, definitely I can see that, you know, just making it easy to just move some things for pictures.
Well, flat spaces are magnets for stuff. I mean, let's talk about it. We all have a little space where we throw everything on when we come home. And it's okay for everything to have a place. If you've read the, you know, the Magical Art of Tidying Up, she does say things, you know, things need to have a place and that they enjoy going back to some of those places like your purse and things like that. So when you know you have areas like that you have to manage, why not be smart about how to manage it? So of course you got a house showing at 6 and you just got home at 5. Why not create a space where it'll look okay when it comes, you know, that's still a manageable space. So you might as well work around the areas that are hardest for you to manage and then, you know, clean out some cabinets so you have some places to quickly put things away. So like it's really not about the money. Most people have all the pieces they need to organize. You open those drawers and you'll find like 6 baskets
right,
with the tag on it from Target or Bed Bath & Beyond or someplace.
Because we had a dream once of organizing ourselves and having matching baskets.
That's
like
right.
That Pinterest
you had a
picture
Pinterest moment. You went crazy on Amazon Prime and had them all sent over.
Yes,
so
that's my bathroom right there.
And that's when we pull them out and just kind of do things. You know, if we spend any money, where I find, and you probably do too, throw a pretty, you know, pillow on, you know, even just adding a little splash or fresh flowers or, you know, just something colorful in the kitchen. So, you know, just those little pops of color to open up areas that look good. So, and so you can do it for a little bit of money. And I got some cool books. I went to the Goodwill, probably one of your books.
Probably.
But, you know, and did a kitchen and I got some really neat cooking books for $4,
nice,
you know, that look nice in the kitchen just for some staging. So there are some cheap ways to
I picked up some decorating books years and years ago, but I love the concept. It's called Use What You Have Decorating. And so, you know, I always kind of try to approach my listings from that too and say, can we take that chair? Like I said, the house with the treadmill that I looked at last week, they had a fair amount of furniture in the living room and I felt like some of it needed to go somewhere else. I said, can you just do something with that, you know, overstuffed chair? But then we walked into the master bedroom, which was huge, and it was like a bed and a couple dressers. I was like, can we move the chair in here and take the side table and let's make a little reading nook, and it'll be a nice little retreat, peaceful thing. And, you know, and so a lot of times we can do that. It's rare that, you know, we have to move everything because there's, I don't know, houses sort of get heavy on one, all the stuff kind of gets to one area.
Well, and family members too can be a help. You know, if you have parents who have a larger house and have some space, you know, why not utilize a little bit of there? Or maybe you have a friend who has an unfinished basement and wants a couch, you know, why not, you know, don't be afraid to ask people to help you do this. I mean, make them your accountability partner. If you've got your good girlfriend, you know, come over and it's like, hey, you know, bring dinner and help me get this together, because that person can also be that moral support that you need. Because again, moving houses can be another emotional piece. Maybe you're moving because your husband has to move for a job, so this has become a harder job than what you'd like it to be. So grab people to help you. It's okay. You don't have to manage this all alone.
That's a great idea.
Get some help and some love in there.
Yeah. One of the things you mentioned when we were chatting before the show that I had not thought about doing, like when I look at that junk drawer and I think, okay, I need to do something with this, and I'll open it about 3 inches, you know, not the whole way, and kind of mess with what's in the front there. And it's like some pens and the, you know, the batteries and the shoelaces,
tape, maybe
and there's always some earbuds, and then paper clips, just random paper clips, whatever. And I'm kind of like, you know, and I'll take the paper clips and maybe put them in my office where the paper clips go. I'm like, okay, I'm good, I'm done. And that's not how you approach things, though.
Well, no, not typically. We may have to come and have a little serious conversation. Right. So, you know, first thing I said start small. You have to have small wins. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it's that dead battery drawer, or the drawer. I found out maybe ladies more so than men, but that drawer that has all your hair equipment in it in there. Take it out and just dump the whole thing. I know. I just scared a lot of people away. Just one drawer. And dump it in an area that you kind of love. So if you're a kitchen kind of gal, that's where my world's my kitchen. But some people have a living room or their bedroom. Right. Just dump it right there on the kitchen counter.
I mean, if you dumped it on the bed, could you imagine?
Yeah.
You would have to do something with it.
Yeah, you would have to, unless you flick the carpenter. But that kind of you've added a little stress to your life when you do that, but you've decided to take the plunge and you're ready to move forward. So, get a win. Then at that point, you have to make decisions about what stays and what goes.
To reclaim your favorite space.
Yeah, and before you empty it, have your trash can close, have another box for Goodwill, and then have your keep box, and you just start. You can just start sliding things off the edge of the counter where they need to go. And the keep box, that's what you're going to put back in there and organize. That's when you can decide if you need to run to the Dollar Tree and buy those cute little containers for your drawers. Yeah. But don't do it till you know what you have left to keep.
But is that what we've been doing wrong? We buy the containers first.
Right.
And then we try to make the round peg fit in the square hole.
And you ever get it where it's too tall and the drawer won't close or the two don't fit next to you? Okay, I know we've all been there.
Right.
But if you do it that way, you're in, and again, another good time to have somebody over and do it with you, or a good time to work with your older kids. I'm working with a client now, and it was really cool to see her daughter start doing a little decluttering and purging, and she was so happy about that, and not in a big way, but just like, a whole bag of just stuffed animals.
Starts to look at things realistically and go, I don't know that I need that.
I don't play with these anymore, and it's not like she's down to anything, but to be able to know that somebody else could use these, and you feel good about giving back to others. So if you invade your space that you love, you tend to get through it a little quicker. It's like your laundry, those unfolded clothes, if they're right there. And you have family coming over, you can put those away, as opposed to if you just throw them up into your closet and you're like, I'll get those later. So if you can put a little pressure on yourself to get a good start, and then maybe after that you don't need to empty it quite, you don't have to be that drastic, but you've made a win, and take a picture, post it, share it with your friends, send it to me, I'll put it on my Facebook page.
I keep thinking about that laundry that gets thrown in the closet, and then you know what happens? You just wash it again.
Yeah, exactly. It's the cleanest clothes you've ever had.
Exactly, because it just gets wrinkled. Yes. So you just keep washing it again. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll try to clean out my closet, and then I'll just end up throwing it like, this needs to be washed.
Yeah. It's easier than putting it away. It's just
like this vicious circle of
oh my God. Yeah. Closets can be tough because we have a lot of stuff in there. And again, we said this before the show, cleaning out a closet, really set aside some time and just take everything out of there. I can't
even imagine. I can't even imagine doing that.
Yeah.
Take everything out of the closet so your closet is complete, and then paint it real quick. Because you might as well.
Paint it real quick. Run the vacuum around those corners where the dust bunnies are. But you find scarves you hadn't worn, that mismatched sock that got lost, or that Christmas present you forgot to wrap for somebody. But just get it all. And then because when you take it out, you touch everything. And again, this kind of goes back to the magic art of tidying up, which is the piece that I really... Everything, do you really love it? And does it, do you love it enough to keep it and wear it again?
Right.
And when you touch it, that really brings, instead of looking at all the scarves hanging, when you're actually taking them off, you really are thinking through, does this fit in my wardrobe?
I think I'm having heart palpitations though, as you talk about taking everything out of the closet. Oh my God, I would have to take 3 weeks off from work, I think.
Yeah, or you take a half, do half at a time, because we want to have wins. And I always encourage, I always try to have people finish projects when they start them.
Yeah.
So this would be one where you'd have to set aside some time, or maybe just start with your shoes.
Yeah.
Or your summer clothes if you've got things spread out. So because we don't want you to throw in the towel and say, I can't do this, when you can, and it'll just get quicker and easier before.
But one of the things we were talking about before the show was when we were talking about Marie Kondo and her Japanese art of decluttering, is that I hear a lot of people talking about that, and does this piece of clothing bring me joy? And I was reading a little blurb and it was a blog post that someone had said, okay, I'm going to try and do some of the things that she said. And she said, so they were recounting their experience, and they were like, so I'm supposed to be thinking about, are my clothes happy being squashed in the corner shelf or crowded onto hangers? Are your hardworking socks really thrilled to be balled up? And this person who was trying to go through this said, it sounded really out there when I read it, but suddenly when she was in the closet, she's like, my clothes look totally miserable.
Yeah.
And I was laughing because I do personify my clothes in some extent. When I go on trips or vacations, I'm like, well, that dress went on the last cruise. And so really this dress deserves to, and I know I sound totally insane doing that, but I do have that conversation. So I'm like, so maybe I'm not that far off from being inspired.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think you are, and I think we all have that conversation. So we just don't do it in front of other people. We probably all do it, but
I'm a bad clothes mom because I've been abusing my clothes. I've been locking them in the closet, not letting them out.
She definitely prefers things to be folded than hung, and I think a lot of. I mean, think about how our closets are set up. There's really much more room sometimes for hanging.
Yeah.
We're more concerned, okay, I need my long space for my dresses and my pants. And folding, I think we all think, oh my gosh, that takes, I think the time factor, but really it is easier on your clothes. You think about your sweaters, you don't like those little hanger buds things, on the corners.
Right.
So there is some really good thought about that. She's put a lot of, I think, again, this kind of bypasses the physical part, but the emotional piece, because when you do love and take care of your clothes, that makes you feel better too.
Right.
When they're clean and folded, you don't have to go grab that shirt that was wadded in the corner and you're mad because you wanted to wear it to work.
And you shake it out and then you run your hand over it and then spray some water on it. And you're like, can I get away with this or not? Who am I seeing today? And will they judge me?
And that's when it trickles down and we talk about, I was just talking to a mom's group. That's when you're mad because your shirt's wrinkled.
Yeah.
Then you're mad at your kids because they forgot to pack the backpack, which had nothing to do with how the morning went, but you're just mad because your shirt's not the way you wanted it. And so here's that perfect example of how the emotional piece becomes your family's problem when it really all came down to the wrinkled white shirt in the closet. And I know it's a little overwhelming, but it is true. We've all been there and felt guilty about it.
And I was just thinking, how many of us have left the house and gone halfway through the day with our shirt inside out?
Yeah.
We're always like, hey,
or mismatched socks, or one sock's in, one sock's out. Something.
Rachel wore a couple of weeks ago mismatched earrings.
Oh.
They were just completely different, big dangling earrings. They didn't, But she pulled it off.
That's right.
So
she meant to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a new fashion
statement.
Yeah,
totally
she's creating a trend.
Off, so. All right, well, let's go ahead and take our final break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little more specifically about senior move management and how we can help with that, since that impacts so many people. You're listening to Real Real Estate Today, your home for smart real estate.
Stimulating talk.
Gets those synapses in the brain firing really fast.
All the time. The #1 internet talk station where your opinion counts. VoiceAmerica.com.
Are you interested in buying or selling a home? Not sure what the next step is? Deb can help. Go to realrealestatetoday.com and click on Start Here. You'll be asked a few simple questions, and Deb will personally contact you to help answer your real estate questions and connect you with a realtor in her personal nationwide network of realtors. So even if you aren't in Deb's service area, you're guaranteed to find a good match wherever you are. Visit realrealestatetoday.com.
What makes a great leader? Most have a vision, one that starts beyond the resources available and continues from that point into developing a solid plan, organization, and company. Leadership issues are discussed each week on Voltcast, Illuminating Leadership with host Jeff Smith. Jeff has years of experience as a leader and executive coach, and his guests will bring you information that can help a team of any size. Listen every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific on Voice America Variety.
You are listening to Real Real Estate Today. To reach Deb Tomaro or with questions and comments about the show, please send an email to Deb at realrealestatetoday.com. That's Deb at realrealestatetoday.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Thanks for coming back. We've been having a great time talking about decluttering and getting inspired, and Rachel was sharing her inspiration. I'm very proud of her. She said she's doing a program. Was that something you found online or called A Year to Clear? And so can I tell your story? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to slide over and tell your story? No. Okay. I'm talking to no one when I talk to Rachel because I can't hear her on the other side there. But so she was saying that she decluttered her junk drawer and it looks gorgeous. And she knows all the pens that work and all the Sharpies and everything's in their place. And then she goes around to the rest of the house and gets overwhelmed. And then she runs back to her junk drawer and looks at it and says, I can do this because the junk drawer looks so gorgeous. So I think that's a great idea to start with something like that. And I know we did some of that. Eurus is really good at doing that. And he bought some organizers for the kitchens, these amazing slide out drawers for pots and pans. And then that so we did that, but then that inspired us to like go to a bigger junk drawer where we keep kind of the kitchen tools. And we just took like box lids and like shoebox lids and things like that, just to kind of keep everything spread out and laying flat instead of jumbled up. And we've managed to keep that for a good year and a half now.
Job.
So
see, and you didn't have to spend any money.
See?
That's again one of those little things. And you know that fun duct tape that they have?
Oh yeah.
You can wrap those around your
that's a great
boxes
idea.
and give it a little pizzazz.
Yeah, that's a great. Oh, I should do that because mine are all mixed match right now.
So you can go ahead. That's a great idea.
And
But
just cover 'em up.
cardboard and that duct tape, because the duct tape's not that expensive, and you know your kids can pick out what they want, and you can give them.
Yeah. Oh, I love that idea.
Absolutely.
What other brilliant ideas do you have?
Oh my gosh!
What's your favorite tip before we get into senior?
Oh, you know what I think. One of my favorite tips is I always tell people to have the Goodwill box. Always just have that Goodwill. I have one or a bag or a box. I always have one in my bedroom, and I probably fill it up every week. Even if it's like I found a ball cap the other day that fell down. It was behind
just like
one of
the
my
Goodwill
boots,
ad,
and I was like, and it was from a mini marathon I ran up in Chicago. It was really cool, I thought, and then I was like, well, I haven't worn this, and went right in the bag. So I think to have that bag, then you look right at it and you don't have to think about where it goes or what to do. But it's just a really, really easy tip, and you find yourself letting go of things easily, more easily because it's right there. So that's one that I practice pretty much all the time. It's one of the first things that we talk about when I do speaking engagements and training, and have that box or bag, but
ready to go.
Close by.
Yeah,
so.
And then don't take things back out of it.
Right, you should put them in there once, and
I do that.
And when it gets full, it goes like you're running a marathon again. You're sprinting to the Goodwill or wherever you want to take it to.
My sister's closet. If you've got some great women's clothes here in Bloomington, my sister's closet's a great source for that too. But there are a lot of great organizations out there that need stuff and will come pick stuff up. And for sure. All right. So you are a member of the National Association of Senior Move Managers, which I did not know existed until I saw your website, and I thought, oh my gosh, I kind of need this. That we talked about his father passed away last week, and we're working with his mother and trying to help her, and it's going to be a long process, and we're learning so much and still feel so clueless. So I guess just tell us what you do in those kinds of situations.
Well, NASM is what it's called for short. So in case you hear it another way, it's really a professional organization of professional movers. But we specialize more on the senior side. So one of the things that we bring into it is, I think, the ethics and just the understanding of what our older folks are going through. Actually, both sides, not just older folks, but the families in general. It's a big change. So, we talk about that's a piece of our training. They actually, you go through what they call a foundations or cornerstone course, and they provide that when you join the association. So the great thing about the association, it brings together all these people, and it is in the United States, Canada, and abroad. There are some places. So, for example, talking about if your mother, yours' mom would want to move, and she didn't want to pack everything, I could call somebody in NASM that's by her. And they can pack up, and we work together to make the transition from point A to point B. The other thing, just like any association, is you get such great tips from those that do the same thing that you do. Like, this happened, or I found this when I did a house. What do you have? What ideas do you have? But it's really just kind of, I think, a reassurance to people that we're doing training. We understand the situation. We know that transitions are hard. They're just really tough. So being part of this allows me to have a network of people who can assist on the other end, because when you work with people, and like you do, when you work in people's homes and their stuff, it becomes a personal relationship. I mean, these people, and I know in your world, they'll call you again. If you go to sell their house, they're going to call their realtor back more than likely. They found them the house, and they're going to be the first ones they call when they make that decision. So this assures people that you're going in with the right reasons. You have a good name behind you. They have a lot of access to, moving companies. So for me, it's nice to know that I've got this whole other group of people that can help out. And if you live somewhere, if you're listening to this and you don't know anybody that does it, you can go to their website and say, I live in, Lexington, Kentucky, and it'll list people that are close that can help you. And to become a member, you just don't pay it's more than just paying dues to them. You go through the cornerstone. You have to have letters of recommendation. We all have liability insurance. So it's not just here's a little money.
So it sounds like there's a certain amount of ethics involved. And because I think that's one of the things too. Now we're struggling because yours' mom is in Pennsylvania, and when yours comes home finally, I miss him. He's been gone 8 days, and we've never been apart this much. But how do we know that we are getting good people, compassionate people, and ethical people to help her?
Yeah, seniors can be taken advantage of, and it's so easy, especially after a loss, because people hone in on those families, and they can find that stuff out through papers and funeral home, announcements. So I agree. It's nice to know that if there's, you could call me and say, could you just find somebody in Pennsylvania that's part of your group? Then I can pick up the phone or get online and find somebody that has had the same training that I have. Yeah. So it really is kind of, I feel like it gives me some backing, and I think it's reassuring to the people I work with as well. It's just kind of that one more level of, I'm here to help, and I want to help, your family understand this move and do it correctly from beginning to end.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's sort of like we talk on the show all the time about being a realtor versus being a licensed real estate agent, being a member of the Realtor Association, kind of means you're going to uphold a higher standard.
Right. And I think the ethics and also just the customer service part, making sure that move happens from beginning to end. When I work with a family, I'm at the home, we're talking about moving furniture, marking which ones. I manage the whole process, even up to the settling in. So I don't just drop off boxes. Yeah. Your clothes are hanging up, your towels are folded in your cabinet. And I even sometimes grocery shop for some people, especially at our assisted living around here. There's some great places that, and so, I want them to come home, and if they want a snack that night, there's cheese and crackers.
The shower curtains up.
Yes, absolutely. And I make the bed, and and I even hang a few pictures and put up some of those personal things. Yeah. And granted, they're not everywhere that they need to be, but at least when they come back in, they're walking into home instead of looking at boxes, because I'll cut the boxes down and move those out, because I think that's the hardest thing is they're leaving a home, and I want them to walk into a home instead of just a room that's got boxes and some furniture. I just think that has to be so disheartening to feel that way. So again, just taking it one step further. And I think that's part of what all the NASA members do too. We're not just a moving company. We're managing it and helping you make the transition as best we can.
Wow. And I think that's a great tip for anybody. If you're helping someone to make a transition, even if you're not using someone, that's a great idea. Something I'll definitely take to heart is, if I can get some pictures up, and that's the first thing that, she sees when she walks in their new home or whatever, that's really powerful.
Yeah. Well, I tell people too, when they move, so a lot of downsizing happens before. And I guess one tip I would give to people who are thinking about senior move management is to start downsizing now. Yeah. Even though you may have gone.
Mom, are you listening? Mom, Judy, Mom. Okay.
It's really okay to start earmarking things for family. When you go in, we talked about that set of china. Yeah. My mom does have a really cool set of Hadley china, and I've always admired it. Well, will you talk about it with your mom and dad right now? And let them know, hey, when it's time, I really like that. What's wrong with go ahead and tell your kids right now, I'd love for you to have that. If I know that you're going to put it out at Christmas, you don't have to give it to them right then. Right. But when you share that with your kids, mom and dad, share that with everybody in the family.
Oh, good call.
So that when the time comes, if either you or your spouse are not here anymore or whatever the circumstance, then all the kids know that Deb's getting the china. Right. And there's no arguments over that. And I think that's what's being a parent is. I read a really good article, and it's like, you're still the mom and you're still the dad. Right. And you should break those ties. If kids are arguing over things, you need to come up with a way to make sure they know who's going to get what. And those are the not fun conversations of downsizing. But when you're gone, those are the things that help your family move on, because you're not dealing with that emotional side of it, not just the loss. So start downsizing now. Start giving out those things.
Yeah, if it were me, I would have a Google spreadsheet that everybody had access to. Yeah. And I would be like, all right, this, and you put your name next to it or whatever.
And people do that. So I've also heard of families they have auctions. So, and it's not real auctions, but you have basically play money. It's kind of like a little Monopoly, and then the kids can bid on things that they like. So if you have 6 or 7 kids, it might be hard, to decide who's going to get what. So
I've seen some families have real auctions auctions, like estate auctions. And if the kids want anything, they have to bid on it basically. And then it comes out of kind of, their share or whatever. Absolutely. And I just thought, I don't know if I could bid on, my parents belong. I just think that's a lot harder way to do it. I don't know. It's tough. It's not, there's nothing easy about it.
No, and every family's got a different method of getting there. So that's why having a lot of, when I was a teacher, I'd always say I had a lot of tools in my toolbox. So what works for one family does not necessarily work for family B. So to have some different ways to help them kind of work through that. But start doing it now. Start gifting. Start getting rid of things. So when you decide to make that move to Meadowood or someplace else, you don't have so much to do. And everybody knows. So,
My mom says she is doing things, but
you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it. I don't know. And a lot of she's an artist, and so she has just things that she uses because she sort of creates just various pieces of art and sculptures and things like that, and just with little pieces of this and that, and so there's all of that, and it's like, okay, well, she needs that stuff because she needs to continue to be creative.
Well, she's going to have some beautiful pieces. I'm sure that you're going to want, and those are great things. I mean, pieces of artwork and things just mean so much. And when you're downsizing and moving, don't forget to bring the things that you love. It's okay if you just love that chair that was passed down. Just make those priorities on the move. How
you feel about a baby grand piano?
Whoa. Those take up a lot of space.
I know.
I've had to say no to a lot of pianos when people want to take them.
My mother has one, and Eurus's mother has one. So I think that those are on the list. And I'm like, I have to find a house that.
Those are hard. Pianos. Don't go. Those are hard to move about. So I'm not saying there's not somebody who would love to have that in their house. I'm sure there would, but they're a little harder than they used to.
Well, I think we just have to look critically at, I think for Eurus's mom, it brings her a lot of joy. Yeah. And so I think it's probably important. I think my mom, she's probably like, I'm good now.
Right. There you go.
It was good when they were kids.
Absolutely.
So I think there are other things if she had to pick for sure.
It could fill a bedroom. If that's what brings her joy, then it should be in there. Absolutely.
So if someone is in the process of whether they're 10 years from moving or 10 months from moving, that make a call to you or anyone in the network, and you can kind of help start to walk them through the process and put a plan together.
I always meet with people free the first time because I think you just need to figure out a plan and see where we're going, see if we're a good fit.
So free consultation, and then it's sort of a package thing. You sort of figure out here's the job and here's sort of how the structure is.
We can do it a couple ways. If you're 10 years out and you're working ahead of time, we can do hourly work, and I also do can package it together if we're on a time crunch. Sometimes people have I want my services to fit their needs, and the bottom line is that it's a good fit for both of us, and at the very end we are both happy with where we are. That's I kind of look at the whole picture. So I'd love to help anybody.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Definitely. Well, you can always call, and I also have a website and an email address.
Okay, and we'll put that all up on the Facebook page, but if you want to say your email address.
Sure. I know it's kind of long. I'd love to get that changed. That's on the to-do list for 2017. But it's CID. That stands for Consider Done. CID Lifestyle Management @gmail.com.
Awesome.
And you can also Google
Consider
Done. It should be up on Google, and you can get me through there. And I have a Facebook page, and I have a lot of people actually message me through Facebook. So great. Send me your pictures.
Awesome.
I'd love to see
that would be great. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was I knew it was going to be a good show, and it was even better than I thought. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate the tips. I have to go and throw things out now.
That's right. Thanks,
awesome.
Deb.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another show. This was Real Estate Today, your home for smart real estate.
Thank you for tuning into Real Estate Today. Please join your host, Deb Tomaro, for another edition every Tuesday at 12 noon Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Variety Channel. Until next week, take care of your home. It's one of your most important assets.